Hey, what's going on? Thank you so much for watching. It would mean the world to us if you could just scroll down, like, hit the subscribe button for the Snaps YouTube channel. It goes a long way towards helping us out. Now, let's dive into some college football. Coach, one of the most impressive parts about Oregon last year is the toughness that you seem to have instilled there. When you think about what Oregon's been kind of in our era, I would say, kind of your 20-aughts on, it's been flashy. It's been a lot of finesse, a lot of speed, but when it came down to, the big dogs in the trenches, they couldn't always hang. And it feels like that not only that start to change last year, but it feels like that's been a real point of emphasis from you. What's that process like? How do you go about changing kind of a brand identity and creating toughness like that?
Well, you have a standard. You have a standard of performance. I think our coaches do a phenomenal job of owning that standard, what it looks like. To play tough, you got to practice tough. You can't show up on game day and do it and not do it during the week in practice. And I always say, if you don't bite as a puppy, you're not going to bite as a dog. So you got to go find guys that are physical in high school. You got to go find guys that are physical, through recruiting that want that embrace that. Going into this bowl prep, there were some days that I was going to go out and our guys were going to wear spiders because it's been a long season. And our guys are like, no, coach, we need pads. So when your players embrace
Hell
that,
yeah, what?
I think that speaks volumes to what they think about what it takes to win. And, it's like you said, it's not going to be jerseys and cool cleats that get it done. That's awesome that you can look good, but you better play good.
Mm-hmm. All right, so you got going obviously at Georgia and the SEC, go to the Pac-12, and then now making the transition to the Big Ten. I know you haven't really experienced the Big Ten just yet. I don't know when you guys start breaking down the film and start looking at your opponents, but as you look at the three different conferences, and obviously one has kind of gone away down the Pac-12, what are the similarities and differences as you kind of look to all three? And how do you take what you learned maybe in the SEC to now what you're going to do in the Big Ten?
Yeah, I don't know how different it is. I got to spend some more time diving into it. Right now we've been on the road recruiting after our season wrapped up. So we're doing a self-scout first. So it starts with us. It starts where can we improve? What do we have to do, to get better? And then we'll start diving into a little bit of who we're going to play. That league has changed a lot in the last 10 years, just like every league in college football has. So we got to see what it looks like. I do know this, that college football and NFL football is one up front. So you got to be able to take care of the line of scrimmage, and that's something we put an emphasis in recruiting, in development. But once we peel back the layers and see where we could grow, from this past season, I think that'll give us a better indication what it looks like moving forward.
The pregame speech from Colorado still gives me a bit of goosebumps and kind of, I think, embodies a lot of that toughness. It made me think, I was like, okay, damn, dude, okay, so this dude knows how to pitch, right?
Rooted in substance, not flash, rooted in substance. Today, we talk with our pads. You talk with your helmet, right? Every moment. The Cinderella story is over, man. Right? They're fighting for clicks. We're fighting for wins. There's a difference, right? There's a difference.
I was boys with Ogeron when he was head coach at LSU, right? And he used to bring recruits up in the office and he'd show them and say, that's where you're going to practice, that's where you're going to go to school, and that's where you're going to become a fucking legend. What is like, and you're landing guys. I know you can't talk about individual recruits. What's your kind of pitch when you get guys on campus? How are you having so much success with all these 5 stars, transfer portals, high school kids, whatever it is?
I just think you have to be you. I've been around great coaches, whether that's Coach Smart, Coach Saban, Coach Norvell, and I think the one thing I learned from every one of them is you have to be you. And luckily that works right now. Like we've got a great staff, we've got great support, and I think players see that. They see, early in your career, you're talking about what you think it should look like. Now we're able to point back and say, the best indicator of the future is really the past, what we've already done, how we've built and grown. So when we can point to an example of a wideout that's had success in our system, I think it's really easy for them to envision themselves doing that same thing. When we can point to our previous success, I think it's really easy to point forward for what it could look like for them. But you have to be you. And I'm certainly not the same as everybody else out there. And that's something I enjoy. I enjoy embracing that.
You brought up 2 coaches that obviously I hear a lot of day in, day out, that's Saban and Kirby, and you've been with both in defensive roles. What makes them similar? What makes them different? Like your interactions with them and seeing kind of their coaching styles, just for like I said, the average fan who thinks that Kirby could be the next Nick and win all those championships. What makes them? What does make them similar in that aspect?
Well, I think it starts with, they're both unbelievably intelligent. They're very smart. They're guys that can see big picture and break it into small concepts that need to be fixed or addressed. whether it's on the game field or away from the field. Something that has to happen within the organization to improve. I think they both do a really good job of, self-awareness and evaluating what's going on throughout the season. Like we call it quality control. Like how can we do it better? I think I learned that from both of those guys, their ability to adapt. And then the matter of, consistency and being resilient and relentless, the kind of work that it takes to be successful, both those guys really exemplified that.
And so, I mean, speaking of the amount of work, I mean, what is like an average work day this time of the year, right? Off season, when some would maybe think, well, I don't know if you listen to this, but whatever. Some might think it's relatively chill, right? Like what's like an average work day look like if you're a part of the Oregon staff?
Yeah, not crazy. I mean, we started off with team run this morning. Our guys were on the field at 7. So obviously you get up here earlier than that as a coach. We're out there trying to be around our guys for workouts. And then we just started, like I said, our self-scouts. We're kind of doing that through the morning. We'll hop into some recruiting and some development in the afternoon. And, hopefully today's the day that I'm going to try to make sure we get the staff out of here in time to go eat with their families for dinner.
Nice.
A lot of days like that. So, but yeah, we're coming up on the next signing day. There's not a lot of change for us there. But you'll kind of grind and get around your players here for a few days and then spend a little bit of time. Like we got Saturday and Sunday off this weekend, which is awesome.
Hell yeah, dude.
It doesn't happen very often. So somebody's going to be watching the Super Bowl, spending some time with our crew. But that's the focus moving forward.
What is the self-scouting revealed? My bad, Aaron. I want to hear what Coach is learning in the lab.
Yeah, it's early start. So, we start with base. Like defensively, you'll start with base coverages and you'll start going through, okay, were we coaching this the right way? What techniques do we need to improve on? How are we handling guys off in the C areas? As far as being on the C area, just a lot of different rules that you'll go back and say, how do you want our base camp rules to be? How efficient a call is. A lot of times you'll go through a call throughout the season, you feel like you ran it, 35 times and you realize we ran it twice, right? Because we got a check or we checked out of it. So, figuring out how much you want to actually practice something or not practice something. What do we need to carry as far as college football moving forward? Is this something that's going to continue to show up more and more? I think it lets you know how to practice, what to practice. But yeah, it's early for us. So we still got a lot of time to figure out what that looks like.
Kalen DeBoer taking over Alabama. You played him multiple times, obviously during your time against Washington. You know how tough it is, and you probably obviously understand what the difficulty of replacing Saban is going to be like. Your experience or being around him, what should Alabama fans what should they expect from you kind of scouting him and going against him on the field?
He's a great coach. I think you have to look at his track record. He's won everywhere he's been, and I've got an appreciation for Coach DeBoer and the job he's done, just because he's done it from a grassroots level. Like he, small ball and worked his way up, and had a lot of success. I think he's a guy that has done a good job with, coaching development as well. The guys that are around him, he's got a group of guys that have, been part of his journey as a coach, and obviously he gets a lot out of his players. So I think they should be pretty excited about what they have down there in Tuscaloosa.